So, Alex, have you ever wondered how Data, Riker, and Worf would behave in a modern day casino?
No.
A dangerous mission uncovers a secret alien passage
Welcome to the Hotel Royale.
where the crew become prisoners in a fictional casino that's all too real.
Lock onto the landing party. Beam them up.
We've got nothing to lock on to, sir.
Now, they must gamble with their lives in a deadly game of survival on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
The Royale might be the most unique episode of The Next Generation we've seen thus far. A modern day setting for part of the story, but not in the holodeck for the first time. This is the first time, I think, that they go to beam down somewhere, and then it's kind of a 20th century-ish setting at this casino. I'll say up front, I love casinos. I love the aesthetic of casinos. I love the experience. I love a lot of the tropes and stuff, which we see in this episode. I'm a casino enjoyer myself, so it was fun seeing characters that I now love in that environment.
Yeah, I've lucked out by not lucking out in terms of casinos because as a young child, quick sidebar, young child, I went to a place similar to a casino but for kids, like a Dave and Buster's type place. I think it was called like the Amazon Rainforest. I put all the coins I had in a claw machine and I lost them all just trying to win something out of this claw machine. Like every coin I had. Then my little cousin comes up, puts one coin in, wins it. I'm like, I'm done. Another quick story. I went to a wedding in Canada. I got like $5. We went to a Canadian casino, put it in, lost it all right away. Done. So like I never got the joy of winning, so I never got addicted to it, thank God. But enough about me. uh, yeah, I just gotta say I love the hook of this episode in hindsight because at first we're like, oh no, when they come across the shrapnel of the NASA ship and seeing the logo, you and I think we both had the same like, oh boy, here we go. Let's go to what 88 at this point. Let's go to 1988. Let's find an excuse to go to 1988. And no, I feel like there was two pitfalls they could have fallen into but avoided. One, they didn't use the holodeck, and two, they didn't do time warp. We're in 1980 something now. It's like they found a unique way to bring like a modern day set into it without using the holodeck or time travel. So kudos, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And I liked that the stakes were just that they were trapped there, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, there wasn't anything going on the ship. Like, it's not like the ship was going to blow up.
No, it was just Picard, Data, and Geordi staring at the screen and talking.
Oh, Wesley, I think. Picard, Wesley, and George.
Oh yeah, not Data. I'm so used to Data being up. Yeah, just like the bubble here. Oh, we lost contact. Oh, we've gotten contact. It's like,
Yeah. I liked it because it gave time for our characters to just have fun character moments, and you didn't feel like it was a race against time. Obviously, they need to get out of there, but the ship's not going to blow up if they don't get back. Like, there was time for Data to just play blackjack and learn how to play, or for them to make millions of dollars playing craps. Just stuff like that. Or even when they were exploring the rest of the casino, I really enjoyed that too. Let's talk about the assistant manager. Sam Anderson played the assistant manager. I thought he did a great job.
oh yeah. I just love when like a day job actor, probably does hundreds of TV shows or just hundreds of small roles, but can come in and just sell it to a point where like I believe this guy is what he is. Because I've been watching Beyond Belief Fact or Fiction, and you can tell when someone just doesn't have it, and like. But when like a guy like that does have it, it's like I believe every word this guy's saying, and there's something behind his eyes that he's not telling me, and I want to know what it is. It's like that is talent, and it's like I just want to know more about this guy and like I love when an episode intrigues me to like ask questions like, what's happening? What is this? You know what I mean? It's like we're so behind the curve. I was dying for answers, and that's such a great feeling that I can get from a TV show or a movie or anything. I hate having answers. Like I love asking questions.
Yeah, and it's such a weird situation. Like, they beamed down onto a planet, and then there was a revolving door in just black nothingness, and then they're trapped in a casino from the 20th century. It's like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah, it's like they're not on a planet near Earth at all. It's like Theta something 8 or something. It's like this green planet beam down. It's blackness in the level, and above it is like the unbreathable surface or whatever, and it's a revolving door. Like, what?
Earth. What do you call it?
We call it Theta 8.
How charming.
And then we get the whole story of the bellboy coming in and, talking about Rita and Mickey D and this whole story, and then that we learn later is from the novel. That story at least ends up going somewhere with the bellboy being murdered. But what did you feel about all these different side stories going on in the hotel that we saw in the book? Because I felt that maybe there was a little bit too much screen time given to all of it.
Yeah, it made it. They gave a lot of screen time to the characters, where I wish almost like a level of AI self-awareness, where like they break the code, they break the routine. Like when they find the astronaut, they say he's been there for 238 years. Like how many times has this story repeated? Is it being repeated? Has it not been repeated? Is it just that effing slow? It makes me ask those questions, and it's like they put so much time on these little characters, where I'm like, I wish there was a resolution for them almost, but there wasn't.
Yeah, because the bellboy just gets murdered.
Yeah, he just gets murdered,
Yeah.
and nothing happens with the older gentleman and the woman with him playing craps. It's like I wanted the resolution for him. I understand they're just like uh, alien AI, I guess, but it's like I wanted the resolution for the characters in the holodeck as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's weird because also let's talk about the timing logic of it, because the story plays out basically from start to finish when our characters, the Enterprise characters, arrive.
Mhm.
So there's no way that this is the first time it's played out. It has to be on a loop. But with that being said, we don't get to see the loop because they do the ending of the book and leave, and that's all we see. I felt that's one of those things where we're probably thinking about it too much. Like, it's just convenient for the show that they could just contain the whole story. But it's like, when you think about it any deeper than that, and like you said, the guy, he said in his diary he had been there 37 years. So if that whole story played out in a matter of hours, he would have seen it countless times over and over. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day, but it's just a weird thing.
He probably just laid in that. He probably got sick of it. He just laid in that bed. It's like I'm just gonna die.
Well, it's like you think if you were there stuck like that, you would never like mess with the formula, like stop the killing from happening, or or kill the guy yourself, or or do something.
Or how much can he change? You know what I mean? It's like,
Because it's not like he didn't know what was going on. He knew it was the novel he was
yeah,
reading.
yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like the more you think about it, the more it's like maybe this guy could have done something, or like I wish like we saw repercussions of trying to change it per se, but no, we don't see that. And this probably way too much. But I mentioned the reaction. Like I wish there was something where it's like, okay, the three investors come in, like, like almost I don't know, similar to I don't know the season finale of Loki season 1, where it's like, oh no, I this it's presented as like a dime store cheap horrible book, right? But it's like what if it was like correctly predicted that like three men would come down and buy like this book predicted that this whole thing happened, and it's like this book was actually written by like an alien with a futuristic like what's the word I'm looking for? Like it could sense what's going to happen in the future, and it wrote a book about
Yeah.
it. And so it predicted that all of that would happen, and it's like this weird, like my brain hurts just thinking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would have been cool. They would have just had to change the writing around a little bit because, when Riker asks Picard, like, who are these buyers? And Picard's like, it doesn't say anything specific. Instead of asking him then, they would have had to, like, play it out and then asked him at the end, like, oh, who were the investors in the actual book? And then they would have been like, oh, it was three people from, some,
Three men from space.
yeah.
Could this really happen?
Yeah, exactly. But then also the whole gimmick is that the aliens didn't write the book. This shitty author wrote that novel. So, it's a little bit, but got to give him credit. I thought that was a funny little wrinkle in the story that it was a poorly written book.
What a great choice to have it be a bad book. So like our people in the Enterprise don't have much to do, so we get a fun scene with with Troy and Picard just listening to the book. Just
It was a dark and stormy night. It's not a promising beginning.
Yeah, that is probably one of my favorite moments of the season so far. Just Picard's like disgust at that opening line.
it's like
And he's
so
like,
great.
not a strong start.
It's like just like it didn't need to be that, but I find
Yeah.
it so funny that it was. It's like how do we make this story interesting? Because like our A team in this story is having all the fun. Like, how do we make it fun for, or how do we make it interesting for the people back on the ship? It's like, what if it was a terrible book? It's like, okay, that works.
I don't believe this dialogue. Did humans really talk like that?
Not in real life.
Also got to talk about the great scene where they go into the hotel room and find the dead body, and then Worf picks up the room service call.
Yes? There is a female voice asking if we want room service.
Tell them no. No.
Yeah, and it didn't like lead to anything. Like it was just a nice little character.
Yeah,
moment.
no. It's like I mentioned earlier, or I think in the reaction, where it's like just half gags, half good, a mixed bag. It's like, I don't want it all gags. I don't want it, just in this time period and it's boring, like, I don't know, Miri or something, where it's like, you got to find that perfect balance.
Yeah, and then I think Riker's character moment came towards the end when they were playing craps.
Little something for you, Ziggy. Little something for those cocktail waitresses. To run this outside, give it to the parking lot attendant.
Just to show Riker like that's just the type of person that he is.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it is nice how, even though these people aren't real per se, that Riker is just willing to do that for him. Like, oh, because he gets all that money and gives it all back to the fake people. It's like, okay, that's a nice little Riker moment. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, so the more I talk about the episode, honestly, I'm starting to like it a little bit more.
Yeah, like, after finishing, I'm like, well, that was weird. But yeah, you're right. Definitely the more I talk about it, I'm like, this was good. I think, yeah, solid.
I think that, along the way of this series, it's fun to have these episodes where, it's not, it's not on the level of The Measure of a Man or Heart of Glory or other ones we've seen that really blow us away necessarily. But it's just like a nice, fun episode where we get to spend some funny moments with our characters. It doesn't always have to be in a modern day scenario, but it's nice to see that fish out of water stuff once in a while. I mean, like the Star Trek 4,
Yeah.
effect. So, yeah, I enjoyed it.
It feels like a very isolated episode, which is weird to say a Star Trek episode feels isolated. Of course it's isolated.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, no mention of any other species, really. We don't even see another species in here. It's just this Earth setting. It's all told through dialogue, what happened. It's just this casino and the Enterprise. And I love isolation stories, and this literally is an isolation story because they're stuck in this thing.
Casino, yeah. It's almost like an equivalent to Shore Leave from TOS in the kind of sense of like, oh, let's take a break from all the super high stakes stuff and have a fun little episode, even though Bones literally died in Shore Leave. but you get what I'm saying? Like, oh, this nice little side episode where some wacky stuff's happening. Yeah, I enjoy that once in a while.
Great hook in terms of, oh no, like, what a great, like, for a swerve, I guess. Like, it almost knew that I was going to be watching. It's like, oh, guess what we're doing, Alex? No! It's like, nah, here's some fun for you. It's not what you expect. And I think that's what makes a great hook, when, like, the hook completely 180s.
Yeah, absolutely.
But still plays true to
what the hook is.
To what the hook is, yeah.
We've got ourselves a little puzzle, number one.
Sir, I guess we have.
Yeah, it's not like they set up a hook and then it's a gotcha or something.
Yeah, it's like, nope, it's this.
Yeah. All right, well, let's see what our patrons have to say. I'm going to just make a prediction. I don't think they're going to like this one. I don't know why, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. Well, Silk says, oh God, not this one.
This one's from Avaria. This one is a bit of a guilty pleasure for me. Is it, in quotes, good? Maybe not. Is it effectively a holodeck episode without the holodeck? Sure. Is it a giant stinky wedge of cheese? Yup. I don't care. It's fun. Enjoy.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair.
That's a good take.
The only thing I would say with that is that if you're going to do that, maybe they could have committed a little bit more. Like, sometimes I feel like the show's afraid to, like, go all out in certain episodes. And in, like, this episode specifically, they could have pushed it just a little bit further with, like, the cheese. Like, the crap scene in the blackjack scene and stuff were good, and, like, the room service call. But, I don't know. Push it a little bit further.
Instead of just focusing on this one, like, that older couple, like, talk to some more people.
Yeah. When Wrecker was like, go out and talk to more people to get more information, I was hoping they were going to go talk to other characters, but they don't. Data just goes back to the same couple.
Just like a basic video game, there's only a few NPCs you can talk to. It's like, no, I want to talk to all, like, there's so many stories out there we can tell.
And there's limited budget for guest characters.
That's true. You know how much it costs to pay for someone to speak? Come on.
This one's from Alexander. I really enjoy this one. A bit goofy, but still fun. I'm impressed that the wreckage they first beam aboard actually had a flag painted with 52 stars, just like the dialogue said. Well done, prop guys. And that's good. Nice
That's
consistency.
true. I can totally picture like some big budget cheesy, just putting the 50-star flag on there. Like an example, apparently like in the not Daredevil, in the Echo show, like the hammer that Wilson Fisk used to kill his father, like they recasted the hammer. It's a different hammer from the Daredevil TV show. Like good continuity there. He had one job. You know what I mean? Oh, it's not a big deal. It's like okay, if they don't care about the small details, they're not going to care about whatever. You get what I'm trying to say. Well, I have to read this one because it's from the lore. Favorite moment has to be Worf muttering, "What a terrible way to die," when Riker mentions the guy died in his sleep.
I love that.
Yeah, just wonderful. The little moments. That's what it's about.
And we also haven't mentioned yet, this one was also directed by Cliff Bowl,
Cliff Bowl.
director of Conspiracy. So nice to see him return.
Hell yeah.
This one's from Reagan. Every once in a while, Star Trek does a silly episode that is just meant to be fun, e.g. Shore Leave. That's what I
You
said.
mentioned Shore Leave. How about that?
If you can switch your brain off and watch it for what it is, you'll enjoy it. If not, you'll think it's stupid. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I guess my problem is with my brain is like I ask questions like, oh, what about this? What about that? It's like, take it for what it is. You know what I mean? It's like I do love that it's invoking so many questions, but also it's like Harrison Ford. It ain't that kind of movie. You know what I mean? It's like just enjoy. This one's from Shatner's Cigarette. The Royale with a bit of cheese. I'm gonna guess that's a reference to Pulp Fiction.
I love these meme names and pictures, guys.
All right, one more from me. This one's from James. Do TNG writers not know what advanced decomposition is? There wasn't much left. I'm about to say, it's a full skeleton. It's like, I don't think there's anything left to decompose.
This one's from Kevin. I always thought the setup to this episode was so effective. Creepy and mysterious, like a good Twilight Zone hook. In my memories, this episode doesn't exist past the reveal of the twist. Yeah, and I brought that up when they saw the revolving door, and I was like, oh, Rod Serling comes in right now. It very much felt like we were going to get like a creepy Twilight Zone-esque episode, and then it just turns into a funny casino episode. So maybe that's why I felt a little stilted on first watch, because I was like, thought we were getting set up for like a nice creepy episode, and that's not at all what it is, which is fine. The episode ended up was decent enough and solid, but there is a universe where this episode was a very creepy Twilight Zone Overlook Hotel-esque Star Trek episode.
Yes, and I've heard that there is a certain show that does go that more dark route that you and I love so much.
For Star Trek?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think Deep Space Nine is a little more gritty.
Oh, interesting.
I think so. I haven't heard. I know no storylines. I've heard nothing. I think I've just heard someone in comments say, "Oh, Deep Space Nine is more gritty." Because remember that one episode a while ago where it's like the one with like the guy drew the woman and the other species, and we mentioned how we're like, oh, wouldn't it be great if like they started eating him or something? Where it's like, oh, you guys, like this dark gritty stuff. I think Deep Space Nine will have that for you. So we got that to look forward to.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually.
Eventually,
it'll take a lot longer than all of them would like, but we'll get there. I promise.
There's only so much. Only so much.